Welcome back. Well, I'm 97.639% sure that this will be the last video of actual building, fabrication, blah, 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 of the belly tank. I think we're going to be pretty close by the end of this video. A bunch of the little small things we need to get just in preparation for stripping this down, getting everything welded, frame painted, all the little details. So the to-do list is long, but I would say half, at least 3/4 probably, I can't do until this is all stripped down. And yeah, so close, man. I'm telling you, very close. So I'm hoping by the end of this video, we'll go out on a bang with trying to start this bad boy up and see what it sounds like. It'll be a quick start. I'm not going to put coolant and everything like that in there. But we're going to try to start it, just make sure it runs. Fingers crossed. And then after that, we'll start stripping everything down and getting it prepped and being ready to do final assembly and rock out on this bad boy. I'll tell you what. So let's get at it. I want to fire this motor up. I do. All right, let's go. First, we put our hoses back on. We got our U-bend. Where we go with our coupler, another U-bend, and then we cut our straight tube down. I think the tube was 13, so I just cut it 16.5. It went perfect. Again, we don't have clamps on, but that perfect fit. And I did the other side. It's a perfect fit as well. So you can kind of see it. So here's the right side. You can see same U-bend, couplers. I just got to pull them together when I use the hose clamps, but all that's in and where it needs to go. If you look down here on the bottom, there we go. If you look down here, I put a 3/8 hose up through there, and we routed it through the bottom, over through here, up and under, and that's going to be our radiator overflow. So if it does spray or if we get a little bit more, it's going to go out there and it's going to dump on the ground instead of trying to fill up the bottom of the tank. Once we get our hose clamp on here, we'll secure that hose to that, and then we'll have a few other secure points around the way. But it's clear of the exhaust. It's just a straight shot out. So that's one more ticked off the list. Actually, two. The radiator hoses I had to do, and then the overflow. I ordered this hood strap kit from Limeworks Hot Rod Parts. Very cool little kit, very clean. Different sorts of assortments of leather. This one matches our seat almost identical. So you got the springs, you got the set screws, you got the latch, two-piece latch, and the footman loops. So go ahead and cut us some leather and figure out a good location to put us some latches. Okay, so I measured up and from the bottom to where I kind of thought I wanted it to be and leveled it off there. Made some marks and drill the holes, get that mounted, and then we'll start working our leather straps and our latches all the way down. Oh, nope, that ain't happening. I gotta readjust it. Let's get one in there. Get that one in there. And these are kind of like the house outlets. I like them all being a certain way, either up and down or left and right. Kind of keeping these horizontal so it goes in line with that. It kind of blends it in a little better. All right, wait, I made a little template real quick just to see what my closing gap would be around our different pieces. I could probably make it a little tighter, but there's no really reason to force it. So laid it out on here and then switched it to there, so that gives us our two full pieces. So I'm gonna pop these out real quick. Actually, I gotta trim this real quick. And then we'll pop the holes and put the little hardware on it and go from there. Let's straighten that up a little bit. Yeah, that one looks good. I'm just using my little leather punch here. All right, so we got that all put together. I figured before I put this on, I might as well go ahead and make the other piece that would go through here. So this will be attached to the car. This slides up onto there, and once it goes down, pull that, it puts tension on it, locks along with that spring. So we'll be like that. So I'm going to make this little piece right here real quick. And I'm going to do the same thing with my template for that'll overhang it. All right, so now we should be able to slide through that. That'll lock in like that. All right, let's get this on and see what she looks like. All right, there's that. And then here's the piece we just cut. So come up underneath that, walk into that, just push it underneath there. All right, so that's what we got so far. Okay. So I think I'm going to end up notching out just a little corner here, just so we don't have that edge rubbing. All right, so take our piece off there. We got our template where it needs to be, and I have a Sharpie. Yep, here we go. So let's mark our holes. Okay, let's cut our excess off. Get that out of the way. All right, there we go. Now sometimes if you get a little crooked, you can kind of see how I'm a little crooked there just a little bit. You have access to there. I'll just take my fine tip Sharpie and make a mark, and then I'll take this apart real quick and just snip that, and then it'll be a nice clean edge. Not a big deal. So let me snip that real quick, and we'll put this back on the tank and see where our next spot's going to be. Anything else slide through there still? Yep. Okay, so let me go ahead and get this hooked onto here. And we got to see where this is at. Then we got to add probably, I don't know, maybe a half an inch. I just don't want to have to drill holes in this thing and mess it up. Just to give, because I know this leather, once it's stretched, it'll, or since it's new, it'll stretch a little bit. All right, so let's put that into there. got some good tension on it there. And let's go there, there. So what is that? Yeah, it's about 1/2 inch. Okay. Well, here we go. Let's see if let's get that in. Can we get in there? Oh boy, she's tight. It's all right though. And then split that gusset almost perfect, like it was meant to go there. Because you got these gussets up top. There's one here and then one here, but then there's a shorty gusset there for that bottom brace that's super thick. So luckily this fell right there. Okay, there's that one. Okay. Where's that? That's on this. Ooh, that's gonna be a tight one to get. Gonna be a contortionist here, man, I swear. Okay. Got that tight there. Top brace out. And there. Now let's just hope that, okay, that's good. Let's just hope that's enough. So should be able to pull that through there. Bingo. Hot diggity. Oh yeah, that's nice and tight. That's good. I like that. Nice and tight. So watch. You can see how much room we have between the two. And worst case, if the leather does stretch a little bit, we can just drill 2 more holes a little bit lower. You wouldn't be able to see anyway, but slide that up like that. Heck yeah. I think that looks really cool. So we're down pretty low there. I think that looks really cool. Plus that ties in with our seats. See how we got that tie in there? I think that looks really cool. Now, yes, some of you are going to say aerodynamics, blah, blah, blah. Look, this ain't a 200-mile-per-hour rig. Maybe one day, but I like that look. I think that looks good. All right, I mean, I think it looks pretty cool. I love just the way it ties in, like the old school look for it. I think it'll work. So just one less thing down. We'll check that off the list, and then I guess we'll figure out what we need to do next. So pretty cool. Yeah, Limeworks. If you check out their stuff, they got some really cool hot rod parts, just universal stuff that you can use for any type of build you're doing. This is one of the kits they had from there. They have different kinds of leather and different straps and stuff like that. So amongst other things, so check them out. Pretty awesome. So, all right, let's get going. Time to knock some more stuff off the list. I think I'll go ahead and get some oil in the transmission. Go ahead and get the oil and some of the zinc additive into the engine. Just anticipation of us trying to start it here in a little while. So we'll go ahead and get that in, get those topped off. I did pick up some of this. I think this came from one of the Ford stores. M533, a 600 weight axle and transmission oil. So I got a few quarts of that. I think this takes like 1.2 or something. This is 0.95. So we'll use this one and a little bit of another one. So we'll get that put in, get the engine oil put in. I'm going to put in 2050 in with the zinc additive. So we'll knock those off. I know my rear axle, the banjo, I don't have oil in it right now because I was welding everything on it, but I do have tape on it that says add oil or no oil or something like that. So I'll add that later. I'm not worried about that right now. So yeah, let's give this girl a drink. Jesus, Pete. I need some Wheaties. Do they even make Wheaties anymore? I never liked them. Give me some Frosted Flakes, Cocoa Puffs, something. Let's see if anything comes out of here. I put a little bit in when I was just working on the shifter. Nothing should come out though. Okay, good. So supposedly supposed to put this in. Hey, look at that. That looks pretty cool. Supposed to put this in and then supposed to stop right before it comes out, but I really can't tell that. So, oh, this is like some honey. There. Now you can see. Wow, this stuff is thick. Wow. Well, I mean, it's going down, so. Okay, well, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Okay. Oh, she's right there. I'd say it's like a 16th below the threads. So that's pretty darn close. I don't know how much left is in this. Not shouldn't be too much. So we used a whole quart and about just to the above the label there. So I don't know how much that is. Is there any markings on this? Nope. So up to right here is what we end up using. Quart and something. I don't know. All right, let's see if we can get this in here without. Let's see if we can pull this out. Out. Keep the oil up here. Okay, let me get this out of here real quick. Okay, let's keep that out. And put this in. I got the paper towels in the bottom. I'll keep them there just to make sure we don't have any leaks or anything like that. But I think we should be okay. That's one less thing I have to do later. So trying to knock this stuff out as I can. It's adding up, but I am getting some of our checklist marked off. So that's a plus. So anyway, keep at it. Oh, we cut the tanks into two. Pretty much your blade of your cutting wheel, about an 1/8 inch typically, and then by the time you clean it up, you're a little heavier than the 1/8. But I think we're probably about 3/16 through here between our two tanks. To kind of fill that gap, I'm going to cut this little piece of aluminum here. We're going to slide it underneath here like that. So it'll be kind of tight. We'll fill in that gap. We'll drill this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 holes, and we're going to put some of the little, we got the cinch head bolts, but I think we're going to use the rivet head bolts here. So yeah, I'm going to drill these out, and then I'll clamp this on here tight to where it needs to be, and then I'll drill these holes out, and we'll bolt it up, and we should fill that gap. So let's see what we can do real quick. It looks like that could be bent a little bit, but I think we're okay. That, let's get there. Got a little gap through there, but for what it is, for when we cut it and it sprung apart, trying to get it close. The other side's a little worse, so I got to try to figure that out. But at least you don't see the black void behind here. It's not too bad. I mean, I can live with that. All right, well, I'll show you there. Now you don't see that big black void through there. It kind of blends in a little bit more. If you look back here, you can see it's pretty thin, but of course you want it as tight as possible. But I think that's going to help a lot. Now, if you look on this side, it's pretty flush at the top and at the bottom, but we got a bulge here. I can't make it go in anyway. I guess when it sprang or something, this one's super tight. So is that one. So I'm going to try to figure out something to pull this through. I mean, we're at a good 3/16. That's probably 3/8 of an inch. Close. Nah, a little less. 3/16 or so. But see if I can kind of pull that in. Okay, well, I like the rivets, but not here. I don't know. Maybe it's because I have the cinch head bolts up here, but I can't try the cinch head bolts here. And if I don't like it, go back to the rivet head bolts, because these are 1/4 inch and these are like 3/16 or something like that. So if I drill it out, that's what I'm using. I think it's going to look a lot better. It's going to kind of blend into the factory spot welds that kind of look like the rivets, and it's going to tie into these. So I'm going to make the decision and drill them out and put these in and hope it's the right one. Well, I can already tell that I like it better. I think it just kind of blends in a little bit better. It's not so much in your face, kind of the look. I do have the rivet head bolts on to hold a few other little things on here, but those are subtle. This was like in your face, so I think this looks better. Plus, I really can't go back now. So whatever. Yeah, I like that. That's way better. We got the lines here and the line there. I think that was a good decision. So I think that gets cut off. I'll have to make a mark later and cut this off or taper this back, because I think that's getting hid anyway. But that cleans that up. So now the other side, that's going to be the problem. Well, I tried everything I could think of. We were tight up here, tight down here, and here in the middle, we were off about 3/8. This part was sticking up. I tried to do what I did with the other side, but bolted to this side, but it just kind of made it look like a shark fin, just kind of layered. I didn't like that at all. I couldn't bend this down anymore. I could get this flush, but then I could only bend it about right in here because there's no strut. There's a gusset here, and I just couldn't get that to roll in. It just wasn't happening with this curve here. Tried to pull this one out some. I mean, it just wouldn't work. I mean, I thought I was thinking of everything. So I tried to do a sleeve underneath this like the other side. Didn't work. I thought about trying to make a handle for this side so you could kind of hide the gap or something, and it just wasn't working. So I came up with is I made this piece here out of aluminum. I still got to polish it. I'll show you that here in a second, or I guess I can do that while I'm talking. But it's just the only thing I could think of, honestly. I didn't know what else to do. And I needed to fill the gap. There's just no way around it. Also, I'm going to take this off when I polish everything, but I'm just kind of do it so it's not so shiny right now. So yeah, I can clean up the edges of this. That won't look that bad. It'll hide it. But I also found 2 USA flag stickers, or their decals, but they look like they've been kind of weathered and kind of torn, kind of like the sticker's been rubbed off and stuff like that. So I think that would be kind of cool. So I'm gonna put one here on this side, and I'm gonna put one on the other side. So that'll kind of make it blend in a little bit and maybe hide these lines. Maybe not, I don't know, but that's the story I'm going with right now. But it's, you know, not everything's perfect. It is what it is, and I kind of figured out what I needed it to do, and that's where it's going to be at. So, yeah, this whole thing needs it again real good. But I went ahead and I used the cinch head bolts on this side. So I think that looked good, but I knocked this down quite a bit. So there's a small gap maybe here, but nothing that's noticeable and nothing that's really going to throw me off too bad. But once you stand back and kind of look at it, it's not that bad. So I just couldn't leave it. It was just, it looked like a big louver, but out of place. So, okay, so that's done. I still need to clean up the edges, but that's once I get everything stripped off and make it a little bit tighter. What else we got to do here? Oh, my oil pressure line just came, so I can go ahead and work on getting that hooked up because that's one step closer to test firing the engine. And we're close. I'm just trying to do a few little things and test fire the motor, and we'll strip her down and start from there. So we're close, very close. All right, let's do something. Well, so the oil pressure line kit came. I had one that was 6 foot, but to route from here up along and back to right there, it wasn't going to cut it. So I had to find a 12-foot section. I couldn't find anything else. It was weird. So we're going to try to get this piece in here. Let's do kind of a temporary kind of fix to it to kind of get us to where we need to be. I'll probably just let it run on the outside here, and then we can do a final type of thing later. Probably run through that line. I got my compression fitting there. Let's get you on there. Let's see what we got here. And we could start the motor and everything up without having this, but I really want to be able to test, make sure I have good not fuel pressure, geez, good oil pressure. Well, does that fit that? Or am I missing? Oh, I'm missing something. Geez, I'm an idiot. Man, what a moron. Let me go ahead and put this piece on. So yeah, just give me some peace of mind for once I get everything stripped down. Knowing that we got good pressure, so I don't have that tightened in there, do I? That should be good there. Slide up into there. Perfect. Now we did talk about before about this, about my shifter that was hitting the gauges. I've had to play around with that just a little bit today. Nothing crazy, but I think what I'm going to end up doing is let's just mount that like that. That should be good there. I sat in here and put my grip on it. I mean, this is 8 inches of a rod here to shift on. I'm going to cut off like 1.5 inches at the top. This is going to give me a whole lot more room. Let's okay, we don't need to be crazy perfect here. I can do that later. Yo. It's a pretty nice little kit. So that's going to go that way. Let that run through there. Actually, you know what I might do? I might just leave it coiled. And then I can, yeah, I'm just going to leave it coiled. That way, when I do it, I can tuck all that down through there. That'd be fine there. And we'll take that to there. Let's take that off. I'm assuming this is where this goes. It looks like there's a cinder at the top, but these had like some electric pressure gauge or something. I don't know. But I'm not going to use this little cinder that's on the top. But this is threaded below it. So I should be able to put my little brass fitting through here. And it should, let me do this. I think, oh, no, that one's smaller. Will that fit that? It's already got something in there. Oh, this could stink. This might not work. That's unfortunate. Well, it took about everything I had in me to get this thing loose. I think it looks like they put red thread locker on it, which was just idiotic. I mean, come on, for real? So, yeah, they put something on there or some, it's like concrete, it's red. Yeah, I don't know what that is. But, so we can see that. So let's see if we can, will this thread into that? Probably not. Oh, it does. Oh, I think it does. Let's see. I'm pretty sure you have to put some like Teflon tape or something on this stuff. Maybe not. I don't know. Let me know though. If you do, I think it'll be fine for us to do our pressure check and things like that. Let me see something real quick. I just want to make sure that I'm okay here with these threads. I'm going to check this with the other one real quick. Ooh. Let's get that little ball out of there. Yeah, I don't know if you all ever done these before. Try not to drop it everywhere, but we got our piece in there that we're going to thread in. Then we have this piece will thread into that. Once our line's in, you have to put this little sleeve over it, and then that goes through and then it sandwiches it together. You don't have that, you're going to have some crazy leaks. Let's see. Nope, I got to put the cap on first. Just told you what to do, and I almost did it the wrong way. That on. And then let's go ahead and thread this one into there. Come on. Now see the pressure gauge, it came with some line, but it was like that clear plastic line stuff, and I've never had good luck with that stuff. So let's slide this up around. And again, we'll make this all look pretty later. Just not right now. Is this the right one for this? Nope. Be right back. Ooh. That way we have some options later. All right, we'll keep that there. That's out of the way of that. We got this wiring here. We'll stick you right back there for now. Let's just kind of fish this down a few places just to keep it out of the way. Been doing a little cleanup and some wiring. Got my starter cable, got it ran. It goes underneath, down through here, run up here underneath the seat, come up and come to that side of our solenoid switch there. Let's see, what else did I do? I cleaned up our ground for our horn, so I'll loop it through there. It's going to come over to this side. I also ran a wire from the top of our coil, just attached it back through here and just have it hanging right here right now. Went ahead and cut our ends to our push button switch, so it's ready to splice in a few minutes. Working on this to-do list. So low pressure lines in, I just marked that off. Wire the starter. Whoop. Let's see, did that. Got the generator partially wired. The instructions have me running that to the battery, so that should be pretty easy. My distributor wire off the coil, I'm pretty sure that goes to our starter switch, like 75% maybe. I'm checking on that to make sure. A lot of those that I've seen, they're got the battery side, and then the starter side that's got 2 bolts in the middle. The 36 supposedly only had 1 bolt in the middle, so I'm pretty sure that's going to probably go to the coil, or maybe I need to run the coil to a switch, so I can flick that on to make sure that's hot so it's not running too long. Same thing with the push button. I gotta make sure I know where that goes. I'm not a wiring person at all. Give me a schematic and show me where it goes, I can do it, but there's not a schematic for this, so I'm working on it. Let's see what else we got to do. That's all after we got taken apart. Okay, well, I guess I can run the generator up to the battery, get that secured off. Man, we're getting close. Again, it's a little here, a little there, right? So, all right. Yep. I ran some more wires. I redid my ground on the horn, so that works. Also drilled 2 holes in the dash for our horn wire / brake lever and for our push button start. So those are grommets, those are in. Also got our fan wired up. So let's see if this works. Yep, so it's sucking air in, so it's going to push the air through. Exactly what we wanted. Here goes a little bit more of an update. We installed another toggle over here. This is going to be the switch to turn the coil on and off, which will also kill it. We have wires coming out of the back that'll run over here to our 12-volt side of our starter solenoid. Speaking of this, I did hook it up yesterday with the actual push button on this, and if I connected it, these 2 areas, this is a manual push button right here that you can actually use to start it. This thing was going off like a machine gun, just crazy fast. So after I did some research, in order to use that, I have to get a 6-volt one of these, which this is 6-volt, but I need the double poles on it. So I have that ordered. That should be here soon. I can switch that out, and I should be able to hook that up. Then also coming off of that, we have our power to our coil, and then the other side of that will run over to this side. I'm going to have a ballast resistor that's on order too. That should be here soon. And before, we had all of our wiring coming from our coil, just looping this way and running down the frame rail. Same thing with our generator wire. Everything was coming over here. I've moved all that stuff to the other side over here, just to kind of clean up this area here, since this is the main access, just to kind of declutter it a little bit. So you look on this side, we have everything coming off. I have some little zip ties holding everything together. I'm going to end up putting some wiring loom on everything. So we have these running back, and then it's going to run along this rail through here. Kind of see we have our little cluster just of our 2 wires here. Once we jump up to this side, we have our controls or our wires for our fan and everything else like that. So I'll end up taping these, and then I'll put all this into a loom, everything else, so then I'll clean that up. Up here, we have our 2 pieces that'll go to our ballast resistor, so that'll be cleaned up there. We've got everything kind of fitted to run up to the battery. That'll all be put into a loom and then tied to the frame, and then everything up to the battery. So just trying to clean everything up, get it sorted. Like I said, I had this hooked up, flicked on the power, and if I hit the manual button here, I could get the engine to turn over. Connected to these 2, it was just going way too fast, because I guess I ended up reading that this is somehow of a ground when it goes through, so it was just going crazy. So get another one of those, then we should be able to start with our push button here. I guess could probably make this one work and just use that as our start button, but then that would kind of eliminate that, and I want that to have a function. So yeah. Well, okay. I don't know if I'm just losing it or what. I've tried everything I can think of. This is the original starter solenoid I had. Of course, it's 6 volt, hooked up and connected the wires for my push button, and nothing happened. So I don't even know, to tell you the truth. So I bought a 6 volt with the double post, S and I, okay, not a big deal. Put it on, wired it up, and connected it, one to the side that the battery comes into. So once I turn my disconnect switch, it sends power to this side, and then, or whatever side it's supposed to be. And then I had the other one run into the S. Split, whoop, whoop, nothing. Not a click, not a noise, nothing. So then I tried the old trusty remote switch. Same connection on the 4 poster. Same thing, nothing. Couldn't get any noise or nothing. And I don't get it. I don't know. Okay. So I need your help. How can I wire my push button? Oh, I even had another push button that's rated from 6 volt or like 4 volts up to like 24 volts. I mean, it's a heavy duty bad boy. Hooked that up and couldn't get it. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong or if I'm thinking about it too much. So I need your help. How do I wire this button? Okay. So right now I can use this one, I believe, to crank the starter over. Okay. And then once you turn the battery disconnect on to get power, I have my line that runs up to my toggle switch, and that's going to run to my ballast resistor, and then that'll run to my coil. So that has power to that once I flick the switch, but I can't get this dang thing to do anything. I mean, I guess I should make sure that this one still works, so I didn't fry that one up. So battery disconnect is off. We're going to turn it on, and if I push this, it should. Okay. Turn that back off. All right, so that can work for that. I can access that from the inside, but I want this to work. So tell me how I can make it work. Okay. Both of these are 6 volt. I don't remember the part number for this one, but this is the Ford. I think this came from Moss Motors or something like this. I ordered this one from O'Reilly. It's 6 volt. Hold on. Nope. 6 volt part SS572. Okay. How do I wire this? Everything I've found, everything I've read, battery comes into this side. Here's your S, here's your I, and this goes out to the starter. I ran one of my cables from this side and the other side of the button to the S terminal. Nothing, not a click, not a Not a peep, man. So help me. Good thing is this isn't altering me starting the motor. The only thing I'm waiting on right now is my ballast resistor. That should be here any day. So I'm just finishing up a bunch of the little stuff. So if I have to use the other one or a different one altogether, it's still going to mount in the same spot. The battery or the cables and everything should be fine. I might have to alter some of the wires a little bit, but I don't know. So help me, please. So that's done. I mean, I can turn it over with that. My cable's up here for the ballast resistor, like that. That's just to keep it if I forget to do the switch so I don't get zapped or anything. I just need to mount that once that comes in. Then we'll have power to the coil. I got all my other wiring kind of grouped together with electrical tape. And I got my wiring loom stuff that I'll be able to put around that in different spots. So that'll look nice and clean. And once I'm ready to take everything apart, I can just pretty much undo the zip ties and it should take it off and be like a little wiring harness, which would be cool. Nice and clean. Yeah, so, man, I really thought it was going to work. I just don't understand why it won't work. I called the manufacturer or the company that sold me this push button. I think it was TCI Auto or something like that. They're like, oh yeah, you can use it for a start button. So then I was like, well, maybe you can't. And they just told me that. So that's when I pulled out my box for this, which is an actual start button. You know, that's what it's made for. And not a click, not a peep, not a nothing. So I'm not sure. I really don't sure. Unless I need to use a relay somehow, you know, like one of the 5-pins relays or something and connect it all together. But you'd still think that it would make a noise or do something. I don't know. But this is like a relay. So, right? Again, I am not a wiring person. Let me just make that be clear. You tell me where something goes and I can wire it. I can do all the connections and all that, but I'm not one to figure out this stuff, I guess. I don't know. All right. Whew. Man, that stinks. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap up a little bit of this stuff and clean up a little bit. Hopefully my resistor will be here very soon. I'll hook that up and then we're ready to test fire it. But we know it turns over. But before I did do that, the other day, I just reached down there with my hands and turned it, made sure that it was, because I did it when I first got it, but you know how when they sit. So yeah, we have turnage. All right, fingers crossed. Whoosh. Real quick before I jump into more wiring, I've been on like different pages on Facebook and stuff where sell oil cans, things like that. Coolest thing popped up that had to have that. I think we really set this off. You ready for this? Look at that. Remove before launch. Very cool. So it's neat to clean it up a little bit, but I think that looked kind of cool hanging on it when you go to a show or just sitting there or whatever. Pretty neat. So if you see something that you haven't seen before, get it. All right, anyway, let's wire. Well, I just spent probably about 30 minutes on the phone with my buddy Dwayne down in Florida, FaceTime, so I could kind of show him what I was going through and help me walk through it, because I don't know if I was overthinking it or not. But this is what we've got. So we can turn the motor over with this solenoid here with the push button here. No matter how we tried to wire up our push button here, couldn't get anything to work. Swapped it over to the other style. Same thing, tried to get that one to work. It wouldn't do anything. Hooked up the old trusty starter switch, wouldn't work. Tried this push button, this is rated at 30 amps, 30 or 40 amps, 30 amps. No, I don't know. It's one of those 35, 40, I think it's 40, whatever. That's what this one's at. So what we ended up doing, we took the two leads off, and if you touch them together, it would spin the starter over. So then we tried to hook up this line straight to that, nothing. Hooked up this one, nothing. So I'm like, well, maybe this one's only for 12 volts or something. I don't know. It didn't work. We did get the power button light on those, so whatever. So then this was the bigger boy, which I'd have to look at the thing, but I'm pretty sure it was 40 amps. I think it's 35 for 12, and I think it was 40 for 6 volt or something like that. Put that on, got a little smoke right here, so I stopped right away. It was like, and then that was it. So I went and pulled out one of my toggles, heavy duty toggles. This is a 6 to 28 volt toggle, and it's rated at 75 amps, which is a lot. So then I clamped this to each end of our leads, pulled it, and it turned over. So this starter requires a megaton of amps to turn it over, which I knew there was a lot, but I mean, manufacturer said I could use it as a start button. Maybe newer ones don't draw as much, maybe. I don't know. But before all that, I tried the relays and hooked all that stuff up. Didn't work. So come to find out, I guess, this switch here, this is only rated at 10 amps, so way undervalued for what it is. So that's not going to work as my start button, which is very disappointing because I like it. And it's there, and I want it to function. So I put this one back on. It'll still power my coil and everything else. It just, I won't be able to use this to start the car. So at least we figured out it was an amp problem. I'm going to look and see if I can find one like this that's 75 amps. I don't think I'm going to. I think maybe they have the big red button one. I think that might be a 30 amp. Still not enough. So I guess we're going to start the car here, start the tank with this right here. This needs to do something. So let me know. Send me a comment. What can that be functional for? I already have this set up here. That's the horn, that lever. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't, I mean, I can remove it all together and cut this piece out, but what I based this yoke off of, steering wheel, was a Lancaster Bomber from England, and they had a red push button there. So, you know, I want it to look like that, and I want it to be functional. So give me some ideas. I might come up with something, but right now I'm just blank. But at least I'm glad that I figured out, that Dwayne figured out mostly, that is just an amp issue. So anyway, still waiting on the coil resistor. I know it's in the mail. Not the coil resistor. Jeez, man. The ballast resistor. That's going to mount back here. Got the wires ran, everything for that. All I got to do is hook that up, and then we should be ready to test fire this thing and hope it works. But the way everything else is going, seems like something else is going to happen, but whatever. So let me know. What can I use that start button for? I guess it can't be something with too much draw, but send me a comment. Let me know so I can use it, because I want to use it. All right, well, I'm going to clean up all this wiring mess from trying 18 million different things. And I'll see you here shortly with the ballast resistor. While I'm waiting on the ballast resistor, I went ahead and welded a nut onto the frame here, so we ground the front part of the engine. I have the bell housing in the back grounded, but I figured I just added just another securement point there, so that's cool. I also tacked this little sleeve on right through here for the gas pedal, so that's about the length that it needs to go to, so it'll have a stop. So if I get crazy, I don't stomp on it and break one of my wires or something. But full throttle, it just barely touches there. So I got that tacked on, so we're good on that. I spent an extremely unnecessary long amount of time looking for a push button switch that I could use for the starter on the steering wheel. Last night, not happening. So I sat there for I don't know how long trying to think of what could I use that for, and then I got it. I'm ordering a 6-volt electric fuel pump that I can mount in line back here. I can use the push button and hold it down for 3, 6 seconds, whatever, to prime the bowl in the tank, and then when I let go, that stops and it'll just pass through, and the fuel pump will let the fuel come. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I can use it, prime it, and we should be good instead of sitting there letting it crank and crank and crank and crank. I think that's going to work. So, so now I'm going to get my wires for my switch I already have one that's going to run to the side of the power side of the starter solenoid. So I get the power to it that way. And then the other end, I was going to extend it all the way out and run it to the back part of the frame. So when it gets here, all I got to do is wire it in and then just ground it to the frame. It is 6-volt positive ground as well. I think it goes both ways depending how you do the wires, but it does work for that. So that's a plus. So that's fixed. Oh, love it. Okay. What else? Oh, so the fuel tank, the gas tank, the frame, and our little hoop area here for the tunnel, those are made out of steel. So I was trying to find what paint would look good and kind of blend into the existing tank. So I just took a piece of scrap here and kind of see the difference here. This is not painted over here. This is painted with the Rust-Oleum aluminum paint, and this up here is same paint and then with a clear matte over top of it. So you can definitely see the difference. But when you put it up against the tank and move it, just the Rust-Oleum aluminum by itself is, I mean, it's pretty darn close. If you're back 10 feet, you're not going to tell a difference. If you get right up on it and shine the light a certain way, you can tell. But so no matte, and that's one less step I got to do. So we're just going to use the Rust-Oleum spray paint. Just this bad stuff right here, and yeah, aluminum. So that'll work perfect for that. While I'm waiting on my ballast resistor and the fuel pump, I'm really only waiting on the ballast resistor to start this up. I don't need the fuel pump installed to do that. I have taken the 2 top tanks. I took them outside and trimmed all the little areas that I've marked. The gussets inside that were all jaggedy, I've cut those out a lot smoother, ground those out. And then I've cleaned the inside real good. You've seen all the little shavings stuck in the corners. So the inside has all been trimmed. It's all been cleaned. The only thing really to do with the 2 top tanks now are to go over the outside of it again with the mineral spirits and the green Scotch-Brite. So once that's done, the 2 top tanks are good. Now the bottom tank, I know I have a lot of spots that I got to cut out and clean up. So, but can't do that till it's done or till it's stripped down. So, all right, I'm gonna run some wires again, but this time I know where they go. All right, we got our ballast resistor in. This side runs to our switch over here, and the other side of that switch runs to the positive side of the starter solenoid. The other side here runs to the coil. So here we go. Well, to say I'm nervous is an understatement. Like I got butterflies right now, so I don't know. Ballast resistor's hooked up, got the fuel tank hooked up, it's vented. I don't have it on yet. I want to crank the motor a couple times just to get a little pressure, and then we'll turn on the gas and we'll turn on the coil and we'll see if we can make some noise. Whew, jittery. All right, let's see. Fire extinguisher on hand just in case. So let's turn on our battery power. Okay, that's there. So got power everywhere. Now let's see if we can just turn it over a couple times. All right, so that's on. Turn our fuel on. It's starting to fill up, so that should go straight into there. Chokes there. Gas. Okay, well, whew, nervous. Well, let's see, make sure we don't smoke when we flick the coil on. I don't see any smoke. All right, here we go. Oh, turn that off. Turn that off. I got a little leaking right here from the carb. Wait, would that surprise me if that wasn't tight? I didn't check that stuff, did I? What side is that? Looks like it's coming from this fitting. So, oh, yep, it was loose. Okay, so that's a plus. Yeah, okay. Let me wipe that off real quick. That shouldn't, I don't think it went anywhere. Get my glasses on real quick. All right, let's try it again. Battery on. Turn the coil off for a minute. See if we're getting any. The auxiliary pump's working. I don't know. I can't see anything yet. Do I have any starter fluid here? I bet I don't, do I? Maybe. I don't know. Hold on. Wait. Ha, I do. All right, here we go. Power's on, coil's on. Well, dang it. Let's see. Dang it, man. Maybe I guess I'm not getting spark, but man. Coil. All right, that's fine there, I guess. All right, let me turn this off. Dang it. Well, I guess I'm going to check and see if I have spark. I guess I should have done that before, but I thought I wouldn't need to, but dang. All right, well, that's disappointing. Okay, so I put a voltmeter onto, I grounded it and then put it onto the coil, flicked the switch, and it was like 1.2 with the ballast resistor. So I know that's supposed to step it down or whatever, but everything I'm seeing, this is like 3 to like 4.5 or something like that. So I unhooked it and just made a little jumper between the two wires and did it, and it was like 5.6. So I know the 1.2 was not enough, so I'm hoping that's what it was. I tried to order a ballast resistor from CW Moss, but they didn't have it in stock. So I tried to find a few other ones. I stopped by O'Reilly, and the one they have looked identical to that one, but there was no markings, and they didn't have anything in the system if it was 12 volt or 6 volt. So I don't know if there's differences between them. I do know that that did step it down. So I guess I'm going to try it now without the ballast resistor, and then do some research, see if I can find one that actually is for this, or that somebody has it in stock to get it to that 3 to 4.5, or maybe this 5.5, 5.6, whatever is okay. I don't know. So if you know, let me know, please. Well, let's try it again. So we're vented, that's on. Let's turn the battery on. Man, I'm so nervous. Turn the coil on. 'Alright. I am getting oil pressure now. $20, $30. I know you heard that. I heard that. All right, let's turn the coil off. Let's turn that off. We got to pop. We got to pop. What are we leaking from up here? If that's the bowl, what is that? I got to pop. So it did something. That's all I'm saying. It did something. These are all a little loose. I don't know if I'm just missing something or what. Any ideas? I don't know. Let's do this and then try the choke. Choke on. Okay, that didn't do jack rabbit. What am I missing? So I'm getting power to the coil. I guess I just need to see if I get a spark. Well, to say that I'm disappointed is an understatement. I feel a little defeated right now, to tell you the truth. But it popped twice. We have sparks, so that's huge. I don't feel like it's cranking over fast enough. Yeah, I just don't think it is. I touched the starter after we cranked it quite a few times, and it was quite warm. I mean, not like burn your hand warm, but it was warm, more than it should be. And it looks like it's the original starter, so I feel like I'm gonna need to rebuild that. Along the same lines, the carburetor, it leaks around the top of the top seam here from the bowl. Not a lot, but enough. So, I mean, it probably needs to be rebuilt too. The fuel pump, same thing, it leaks. I'm assuming the diaphragm is probably just dry rotted and it's just not doing well. So it's leaking from the back of the gasket too. Smelled the fuel, or smelled the fuel, pulled the fuel out and smelled it. It smells like it might have a little fuel in it, which comes down through that way. So I need to drain the fuel or drain the oil out. But to get the starter off, I pretty much have to take the bottom tank off because of how tight everything is. Even if I could get the heads out or the headers out, it's still not coming out. So I guess for this video, I'm leaving you defeated and feeling whooped. I really wanted to get it started for this video so we can start the disassembly. But I don't want to do anything to screw it up, and there's only so much I can do with it wedged in here because it's tight as everything is. So I think I'm going to disassemble, which not much. It's just going to take some time. I have to get the steering out of the way. I'll take the headers off and then get it jacked up right so I can get the tank off. So I'll probably try to leave the motor in here, but then I can get the starter off, get that rebuilt. While I'm waiting on that, I'll get the carb and the fuel pump rebuilt. So I'll probably have videos on that too. Not a big deal, really. I mean, I guess it's my fault. I should have tried to do the startup when I first got it. Saw a video of it running, so I just assumed. But you know what they say about assuming, and it is what it is. So I have spark, so that's good. I was worried about that. I just don't think I'm cranking it over much or too fast. So I guess I'm going to get the bottom tank off. We'll do that, get that set aside. Then I can have full access to the bottom of the engine. I can drain the oil, put new oil in it, get everything rebuilt, get the starter rebuilt. It might just be gunk in there, in the bushings and stuff. But if you hear it, it's just slow. You hear me justifying to myself. I'll do that, and then we'll do its own little separate video of starting the motor and everything else. So probably be a disassembly video coming up right after this one, getting the tank off and a few other little bits that I've been working on because I was waiting on some parts and stuff for this. And then we'll do a video, get it started. So sorry you tagged along the whole time to see this bad boy start. Trust me, I'm just as disappointed as you are, but we'll get it. It's not tying us up, so we'll get it done. So anyway, I appreciate it. Tune in next Friday. We'll have disassembly, some painting of some parts, cleaning up of parts, the tanks, and a few other things. Getting the bottom tank off and start tearing into this bad boy, get this thing ready to go. So I appreciate y'all sticking through it. And now subscribe, hit that subscribe button real quick. I'd appreciate it. Plenty more to come. So with that, have a good one, and I'll see you next Friday. Thank you.